tell you what's changed right now. Stories and narratives. The format of the show has changed. We are joined by the one, the only, that man Tate, one of the best cut men. No man alive should miss what this man has to say. What's going on, Tate? How are you, buddy?
Brother, thank you for having me, man. Like, I'm excited. Thank you so much. I missed what y'all were talking about earlier.
You are a liar. You're not excited. You were like, oh, for crying out loud. Bisping needs a guess. He's hitting me up. What am I going to talk about?
Bro, I just want, like, I love what y'all are talking about. I mean, I have an opinion about everything MMA. So, like, I mean, I missed the beginning of it, but continue. Like, I love it. Like, you guys are super intelligent about it. So I hope I don't embarrass myself by giving you my 2 cents.
No, not at all. We were just talking about Tom, Stipe, that whole situation. By the way, Tate, this is Adam Catterall. I don't know if you're familiar. I don't know if you've met each other. Adam, Tate, Adam. I work with Adam on TNT Sports and stuff like that. So we covered the UFC together. What is your opinion on all of that? Give me your opinion.
About what? John and Catterall and Stipe?
Yeah, sure.
I've been in the sport for a while. So if I'll be honest with you, like, the sport has changed in regard to, like, now if you're popular on social media, you can almost get yourself a title shot. But if you look at the sport the way you were in and when you fought in the era you were in, guys didn't get, like, a lot of title shots. So that's what made them super important. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you had to wait several years to get that title shot. And it wasn't just, you know, you were popular on Instagram and you kept saying a guy's name, and then finally the UFC said, okay, we're going to give it to you. I love Tom Aspinall. I think he's going to be great, and I think he is an amazing fighter. I just feel like the UFC is kind of doing right because John has never, you know, John's never been hurt before. So, and this guy's probably one of the most decorated fighters. I mean, I don't care about his outside pass. So between him and Stipe, I think those two have paid their dues and deserve to fight for the belt. And I just feel like Tom has to wait his turn. And I mean, I think that'll make him a better fighter. And I think that'll give him more character, and that'll make him more of a fan favorite for him having to wait. You know, I don't think you always get what you want right away. And I feel like John has paid his dues, you know, so to not be stripped. And I get that the fans are calling him inactive, and I get that the fans are doing that. But I feel like they don't take a lot into what John did. Like, he took time off to become a heavyweight. And when he became a heavyweight, he became the champion. You know, this guy has done a lot in MMA. And then you talk about Stipe. He's also been an actor, but he's been doing things. So these guys have paid their dues to be where they're at. And I feel like if you scrap that, then what are we saying to the new generations coming up? Anybody can just get a title shot because they're popular on Instagram.
Yeah. First of all, I've just got to address something. Adam Catterall, you were late. Tate, you're half an hour early. It's like, what the hell is going on? We'll just keep it nice and conversational, Adam. The three of us, we're just going to go kumbaya. We're going to talk. Tate, how the hell does one become a cut man? Because we get videos about this all the time. People asking, how do I become a judge? How do I become a referee? Cut man's been in there before. How the hell do you become a cut man in the UFC?
There's no real science to it, man. It's right time and right place. So for me, I was a paramedic and I was around the guys, and I started out, I would give them IVs. And then I was like, hey, almost 20 years ago, I saw it and I was like, I kind of want to do this. And at that time, Burt Watson was like, you know, you got to pay your dues. You got to go at these small organizations. You got to learn how to wrap hands. And then once you do, then we'll kind of give you a look and we possibly might bring you in. But I mean, you're not going to look on a website and they're going to say, hey, CUTMAN for hire, or they're not going to, you know, you're not going to go to gyms like that. It's just not done. This is a very trendy kind of occupation. So you got to spend time in the gym. The fighters got to become accustomed to you. And then, you know, eventually you might get that call or you might not. I mean, it's just being a cut man in the UFC is no different than trying to be a fighter. I think it would actually be easier to be a fighter in the UFC than it would be to be a cut man because there's only 5 of us. And then you have the UK guys that travel. And then we have 3 alternates. So, and let's be honest, it's not labor intensive. I can do this till I'm 100. So you basically got to wait for somebody to die before you can get in. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very hard job to get into. But I know that people see it and they're like, oh, this is the best thing ever. But a lot of people forget I've been doing this for almost 18 years before now all of a sudden, you know, the fighters embraced me and then social media has taken over and kind of made me popular.
One of my favorite things that you do, obviously the job in itself is intensive and we'll get stuck into all this, no doubt. But when the fight is being padded down and they're being vassed up and they're about to go in, I always look for your face, whether you're actually the guy that's doing it, padding them down, or whether you're in the background, because some of your reactions to some of these fights, man, are absolutely hilarious. Within itself, there should be a meme or a channel dedicated to that man Tate's little reactions to the fight that is just about to take place.
I can't help it. Like I try. Like we had to fight RTO, and the girl bent over and was slapping the girl's bum, and I was just like, and I'm just like, you know, everybody else is being professional, and I'm just like, I had to turn away because I'm just like, well, that's odd. And then like we were doing Dana White Contender Series this past week, and the guy like lays down with his butt up in there, and I'm just like, interesting. Like the fighters get in the moment, they do their thing, and I'm just there, just kind of like. But I really am not trying to do it. Like I know people like, oh, but it is what it is, man. It just happens. You know, it just if you do something funny, I'm just gonna be like, oh shit, this happened.
Yeah, so. you got to be reactive. Tate, I love your energy. You're around. Everybody loves you. Right? I see the way that you interact with everybody because you know, like the UFC, it's like a small family. We're on the road all the time, and you guys more so than me. And even for me, it's a lot of traveling. And I love like the warmth that you have with everybody, but. There's got to be some divas in this fight community. Nice. When you go back, when you're trying to like work on them, give me some stories. Come on, sell someone down the river. Talk a little shit. No one cares. It's okay. Come on, give me an interaction. Give me some gossip. Give me some good stuff.
I will give you the one person because he's not in the UFC anymore, and you fought him. Fucking Luke Rockhold was a pain in the ass. Like, bro, listen to me. I know he was a good fighter. I don't think anybody except DC liked Luke Rockhold. Like, bro, he was, oh my God. He just, and even now, like, it's funny because, like, Luke could, like, pummel me. So if he's ever around, Bisping, you better defend me. But, like, I see him now. And, like he was talking shit about Sean Strickland. And I'm like, nobody cares, bro. Like, this whole, Dana called me, I'll go in there and handle this for you. It's like, dude, he was a problem. Like, and he was just, dude, him losing the belt was like the best thing for him. But like I said, he's not with the UFC anymore, but he was the one guy that just, oh my God, even to just be around him, you would just be like, bro, why are you such a dick? Like, and honestly, you could tell him that he was a dick, and I think that fueled him even more and made him even more like, yeah, let me be that way. I mean,
it got harder. It got bigger.
Yeah, like that was his.
I'm growing.
Yeah, bro, he was just like, you know. But I don't really have a lot of problems with the fighters. Like I said, most of them are actually cool. I find that, to be honest with you, Road to the Octagon, this last show that we did, I had more issues with those fighters than I have ever had with UFC fighters. Like when you were like wrapping their hands and stuff. Like I literally looked at one of the guys in his translator. I was like, you tell this dude, I've wrapped champions that hadn't complained as much about their hand wraps. So
yeah, but that's because they're nervous.
And again, you try not to stress them out. And that's one of the things I do when I come in the back, because you guys got to fight. So like if you can like lighten that mood by joking or just taking their mind off of for 5 or 10 minutes, you want to do it. But then at some point too, it's like, bro, like these are hand wraps. As good as I can try to make them, they're still tape and gauze. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're going to have to fight in them. But like I said, I found that most of the guys that you deal with, like on Tough, or like guys that haven't made it or not superstars yet, tend to be the ones that you're like, bro, come on. Like, you know, they're looking at you like, yeah, like, I think this is okay. And it's like, who are you again? But again, you try to take it all in stride and laugh, man. You don't want to get into arguments with these guys.
Adam, coming from the boxing world, you know the boxing world inside and out much more than I do. You know, for somebody like Tate, being a cutman, what kind of differences between the two sports have you seen? Or do you have any questions for Tate in that kind of regard?
Well, the type of injuries that you will be dealing with compared to what the guys in the world of boxing are dealing with, I suppose the majority of cuts, serious abrasions within a fight in order to try and keep a fighter within a fight come from obviously being punched in the face or head clashes. That's the majority stuff. You're dealing with knees, kicks, all sorts of things. What's in between rounds when a fighter comes back to the stool, they part the backside there. They've obviously got a serious abrasion, and it's obvious that it's going to threaten maybe the fight, whether it's going to get called or not. Talk to me about that conversation there, because the reaction there, you're obviously going to give signs off to the camp, the doctor, the fighter themselves. What's those moments like? Because they must be pretty tough.
Well, so from the start,
you're only dealing with 1 minute, aren't you? You're literally dealing with 1 minute. Go on, man. Save the fight, basically. Crack on.
So the thing with the cuts, like honestly, so like you're sitting cage side and you want to cut because you want to stop it, but then you're also nervous as well. Like you never want to go in there and be like, man, they're gonna stop the fight because of you. Like that Drew Dober cut was just crazy. So like, you know, you're like, oh, so you look at those kind of things. And then I think the Bruna Silva, whatever, I never got a chance to work on that. But you're sitting there and you want that cut. As a cut man, you're like, give me this. Like, I want it. But then you're also like, oh shit, like I got to like, you know, and that's the one thing. But then when you get back to the corner, when you're looking at guys and they're beat to hell, my mindset, being that I was a paramedic, goes to kind of triage. What's going to stop the fight? These cuts are not going to stop a fight because they're not bleeding in the eye. So this will stop a fight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Swelling will stop a fight. There's been times where swelling was more important than the cut because the cut was down here and the swelling was like in the eye. Anything that is going to get in the guy's eye is where you're going to give your most attention to. Also, for me in my mind frame, I want that guy clean. So you'll see me holding the Q-tip up to stop the bleeding, but I also want to give that guy the clean look as much as I can because damage matters. So if you look at a fight and one guy's beat to hell and there's blood everywhere, that could potentially sway the judges. Because we've all seen it where a guy has a bad cut, but the other guy's beating him. But he's bleeding, and so to the eye, you're like, well, this guy's doing more damage. So I'm very big on making sure that my fighter's clean. I don't want blood anywhere on him when he leaves the corner. And then you want to get that in there, and you want to, for me, I want to run to the fighter. I don't go, and that's the difference in boxing because you're waiting for the fighter to come to you. I go in the cage and I go to the fighter and try to cut, and I try to get as much time with that fighter as I can.
I've seen that. Even before they hit the stool, I've seen that. I've seen you do
so
that,
you want to do that because seconds matter in this sport. Right. And then you get there and then you sit them down. But the one thing that you want to when you're in that corner is I have to be calm. And now I've had some calls where all hell went loose and then I'm in there freaking out too. And the fighter's like, is it bad? Is it bad? So for the most part, no matter what I'm looking at, I'm going to try to be as calm as I can. I'm going to look at the coaches. I'm going to tell them that I got him, that I can stop it. And then we're going to get him out there. The biggest difference in MMA and boxing as the cut man is the hand wraps. So if I was to do boxing, I would be an independent contractor. I'm an independent contractor hired by the UFC. So I don't have a dog in the fight. But if boxing, that's why you have to have the other corners watch you wrap the guy's hands because that's when you tend to do things guys do things that are suspicious, where the wraps might be different or they're cheating. And that's why the commissioners have to watch them that much closer because I'm getting paid by the fighter. So now I have an interest in that guy's winning. You know, if I help him win, then I get more money. So that's where you get the cheating in. But as far as MMA goes, the hand wraps, that doesn't matter because I can wrap everybody. But then as far as like the cuts go, you want to be quick. So you want to get to the fighter as fast as you can. You can't pick the fighter up, but like if the guy's been getting, ground and pounded, I want to go there, watch him stand up, and I want to like kind of help him back to the fight. I don't want to see him wobbling all over the ring and making it look like he doesn't know what he's doing because you can stop the fight for that. So from the moment I get in the ring, I want to get that fighter, let him know that I got him, walk him back to the stool, let him kind of regain composure. And for that 50 to 55 seconds, I just want him to know that he's in my hands and I got him. I'm going to make sure he's clean. He's going to come out, and then hopefully we can start the fight over and keep going again.
It is crazy because you see some fighters and they look like they've just been through a bloody, I don't know, a meat grinder. You know, the blood's everywhere, the face is falling off. And then after 60 seconds, the job that you guys do is phenomenal. So on behalf of all fighters, thank you, because it does make such a massive difference. Like when I got kneed in the face of Anderson Silva at the end of round 3, my face was falling off, blood everywhere. And then I went out in 4 and I looked good. Has there ever been a time, though, when you've walked in and you're like, oh, bro, I'm good. I'm good at what I do. I've got my little iron freeze. I've got my Q-tips. I've got a bit of Vaseline. But, bro, I can't work miracles. This is done.
I had 2. So, TJ Dillashaw.
What do you call it? Iron freeze. What's it called again?
It's the end swell. The end swell?
The end swell.
Yeah. So, I had one where, and I tell everybody, TJ Dillashaw had a cut that went this way. And so the cuts that go like horizontal, those are easy to stop. But for some reason, the docs were telling me like because it was vertical, that it could hit a nerve. So they were literally thinking about like stopping that fight. So I'm over there begging like, please don't stop this fight. Please don't stop this fight. And then he actually ended up winning. But like that was one of those few fights where I was in there and I was like, this is, and they're like, well, is it getting bigger? And I'm like, no. And they're like, because it's a nerve there. So that was one of those fights where I was really, truly like kind of sweating bullets. And then Mackenzie Dern had a fight in the Apex where she had broke her nose. And like you could feel a bone clicking in there. And she like looked at me and was like, is my nose broken? And she was moving and you could feel a bone clicking. I was just like, I was like, I thought I was going to throw up. I was like, oh my God. I was like, and I was literally like, oh, please stop. And I was literally like, please stop doing that. Like, it's going to be okay, please. And then like, she's kind of looking up trying to see if her nose, and I had my hand over it. That's another thing that we really do. Is like when the fighters are in the corner and they want to see the cut, like I try to do my damnedest to cover it because I don't want them to looking at it. I want them focusing on that. I want them listening to their coach. So that's another thing that you do too. Like the hardest part for me is to not get in the way. Like do your work and not be in the way because the coach wants to be in the center talking. They got a lot of information. That corner is chaotic for like 30 seconds. You know, the guy's trying to get composure. He's trying to get his breath down. He's trying to drink water. So it's a fun moment.
What's the worst one you've seen? That the ones that spring to mind for me are like the Gregory Rodriguez one where you've got a Harry Potter right down the middle of the forehead. You remember that?
That was a bad one. I was seeing that one, and then I didn't get to work it, but that Drew Dober cut, I was like, that was one of those where you want it, but I'm like, man, I'm glad somebody else is dealing with that shit because that was just there was nothing you were gonna do that was gonna stop that cut, man. It was like, damn, you know. Yeah. So you have a little bit of ego, man. You kind of want everybody to be like, man, this is the greatest cut, man. He can stop anything. And you're looking at this like, there's no Jesus couldn't have stopped that cut, bro. That thing was bad.
You just said that one of your things that you're doing, which I so much respect. You're trying to calm the fighters down. You're trying to hide the cuts, and people don't hear this kind of stuff because, and that to me, after being a lifelong fighter and being around the UFC for so long, I didn't even know cutmen that are good cutmen that give a damn, that care, are doing that kind of stuff. So again, thank you. But I don't expect you to name names. But has there been times where you're in there and you're trying to fix the cut and all the rest of it, and the corner man is just out of his mind? Do you know what I mean? Ranting, raving, coming out with absolute nonsense, and you're stitching away or like doing your thing, and you're like, bro, this is the worst cornering I've ever heard in my life.
Again, listen, I'm not gonna throw names, but
no names.
It happens a lot where you're in the corner, and like I said, I'm not an MMA practitioner. I just know, but there's been times where I've been in the corner and I'm like, what are you telling this guy? Like, what? Like,
you're winning.
Yeah, like you hear that shit, or you hear him, or I've been in the corner and you hear the rah-rah speech on the third round. You're like, bro, this dude is getting his ass whooped. Like, the last thing he needs is motivation. Like, that's not working right now. You need to come up with technique. Or I've heard a coach tell a fighter he was winning and the fighter coasted and got his ass whooped. Then I've heard a guy just in the corner just screaming obscenities, and I'm just like, but the best coaches, man, are when they're in there and they can actually get the guy to focus and calm down. So, and I don't mind saying this, like Pahumpa out of AT&T, like I love when he's talking, because that's a cool aspect of the job too, is when you're in there and you hear the coach tell a fighter to do something and watch the fighter do it and it's successful. Yeah. That's the most amazing thing, But there's vice versa where you hear a guy telling them, well, you need to take this guy down, and there's no prayer in hell that this guy's going to take him down. So that's the fun part of it too. But it's also exciting too, never to be ugly, but when you see a fighter that's broken, like you see everything firsthand in the corner. You see when a guy, you know when a guy's going to lose. You're like, dude, this guy does not have it. You see when a coach is telling the guy like, hey, we need you to do this, and the guy repeats it back to the coach, but he's not sure of himself. You're like, damn, like, okay.
Let me just jump in there, Tate. You're good for a few more minutes? Don't go anywhere. But we got to go to commercial break.
What?
We'll be right back. Brian. All right, this episode is sponsored by MyBookie.com. Listen, it's time to turn your football season into your best winning season yet with MyBookie. Whether you're rooting for the alma mater or betting on a hunch, there is no better way to experience the thrills of the season than a little skin in the game. When you bet with MyBookie, it's not just watching the game. You're investing in every moment of action. I'll say from experience, a few bucks on the line can turn a regular game into the highlight of your season. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the average college football game runs about 180 plays? Every catch, sack, and touchdown is another way to hit pay dirt using MyBookie. Get in now and use the promo code BELIEVE to claim a bonus of up to $1,000 on your deposit. That is promo code BELIEVE to start the football season off playing with house money. And the best part is MyBookie will keep you coming back for more with tons of exclusive lines, free bets, and access to VIP contests. Don't ever miss a single play. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, only with MyBookie. Yo! Speaking of my books, look at this, Tate.
Bisping, I'm not Bisping. I've been asking for that book. I'm a big reader, bro. I asked Bisping for that book a year ago.
This is yours.
Okay.
This is yours. I'm handing it to you right now, but you just can't take it.
Bisping, put it in the car so when you come, put it in your suitcase so I have it next time.
I'll do it. Listen, we'll let you go in just a second, but I got one last question. Adam, you're going nowhere. We got lots of stuff to get through. Tate was early.
Yeah.
Adam's like, I've got kids to feed. I've got a life to live. I'm like, you're mine. Brian, get ready to roll this tape, Brian. What the hell was going on with you with DC? Did you have a knife in the octagon? Did you see this, Adam?
I saw it on social media. Yeah, I saw DC losing his mind.
Listen, you want to talk? Put your knife away.
What are you talking
Put
about?
your knife away. It's time. No, put your knife away. It's time.
Hey.
Put your knife away.
You're going to be the first Hall of Famer game.
Hey, put your See, you want to talk with no consequence.
No, you talking shit to me.
Do you have does he have a shank in his hand?
I will stab this. Listen, I'm too old to fight you guys. And DC is the biggest antagonist. Like, Bisping, you work with DC. Like, if DC is not causing issues, that's just how he is. So I was talking and I was doing the walkouts because I love doing the walkouts. Like, that's my feeling like a fighter moment. And I get to be goofy. And then DC I didn't even know he was working. And then he chimes in and he just starts calling me a fake fighter. And then, like, this has been going back for years with DC and I. And I'm just like, you know what? Okay, and then he just started talking trash to him. I was like, dude, didn't you get beat by John twice? Like, wasn't you the guy crying in the octagon? You know, I was like, wasn't you the one that was like, when Joe asked you about this rivalry, you was like, it's not a rivalry if you don't win. I was like, wasn't that you? And so then, of course, he came in the octagon. I was like, they locked the cage. So I was like, I either got to jump over the fence or jump over the cage or I got to stab him, you know, something. So I was like, something's got to happen to even this thing up. But, you know, DC is always, man, I got to give him so much love because as much shit as he talks to me and he lets me talk back, he's never like beat me up like my boy Gilbert or those guys. But DC's always been a good fun friend to tease and always have fun with.
It's crazy because, and we'll have to let you go now, Brad. Sorry, Tate. And I hope we do this again because I could talk to you all day, man. And we're going to do this, just me and you. We're going to go solo, baby. And Adam, you can chime in on this. Like DC, I saw somebody post on social media recently because everyone talks crap because he's like a big cuddly teddy bear. You know what I mean? DC was the 2-weight champion of this sport and could maul 99.99999% of men and women are bloody anything on this planet, but people just go at him, and because he's so nice and so personable and so fluffy and friendly, but people just feel the need or think they can get away with talking shit.
It's wild.
That's the internet. Like, I even like, so like, I see all you guys' comments, and they like people. The internet has just made people very, very comfortable saying whatever they feel like they can say. And then like, it's crazy because like, even though I'll talk trash to Gilbert or DC, like people forget like I really am friends with this person, and I really care about them. But then I'm just like, you know, even like the stuff that they say to John Jones, it's like, dang, y'all must have forgot. Like I got in trouble, not in trouble, but when Tom Aspinall came on, I made the comment that they turned on Jesus. You know, I was like, yo, don't forget they turned on Jesus too. And man, I got so much flack about that. And I'm like, say what you want about John, his personal life, whatever, but the man is an exceptional fighter, and he would kill 99.9% of anybody that ran up on him. And the fact that you can text these things on a keyboard and say it with no consequences baffles me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then if you was to see him face to face, would you still have the balls or be brazen to say you suck or you're this or that? It's just, you know, it's
they would
crazy.
not say a goddamn thing. Tate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you this weekend if you're working. Thank you for your time.
Don't forget my book.
It's going to be signed. This is it. This is the week he's been asking for years, Adam. Tate, you're the man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you guys so much. You guys have a great day. Appreciate you for having me. Bye-bye.
Of course. No, anytime. Thank you.